Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Tonight I had the opportunity to see the newest film, The Crow, which is a reimagining from the classic film from 1994 starring Brandon Lee. In this film, Bill Skarsgård plays the titular role of Eric, and he falls in love with a girl named Shelley. What he doesn't know about Shelley is she has seen some shady shit from a bunch of people that are not so good, and they break into their apartment late at night and kill them both, but not before letting Eric watch the love of his life get suffocated to death. However, upon crossing over into the underworld, he is filled with so much hate and rage over the death of his loved one that he is granted the gift of immortality and sent back to Earth so long as he kills everyone responsible in the death of he and Shelley. It is only then that he could potentially bring Shelley back and save her from a life of pain in the underworld. Now, I want to start off by saying this. I like the original The Crow film, but I am not a die-hard fan of it. There are some people that hold this movie up on a pedestal that I just don't think it belongs there, but I'm not knocking what other people love. That's great. I just wanted to set the precedent that I am not one of those people that were like, if this film is not like the original The Crow, I'm going to hate it just based off of that fact. I was able to kind of turn my brain off to the original one and enjoy this one for what it was. When they didn't release the review embargo until tonight, that's not a good sign for movies where they don't want the reviews getting out there because they don't want people to think that the movie's bad and deter them away from seeing it and wasting their time seeing it. So I went into this movie with the notion that it was going to be a bad movie. And the movie started, and I'm like, okay, waiting for it to get bad. And then I kept waiting for it to get bad. And then I kept waiting for it to get bad only for the credits to roll. And I was like, huh, I like this movie. Then I pulled up my phone because I was like, well, I mean, I wonder why they held a review embargo. Clearly it's a good movie. And then I went to the Rotten Tomatoes score and I was like, oh dear, I am in the vast minority of people to actually enjoy this film. And I want to sit here and say it's because a lot of the people reviewing it are probably just diehard fans of the original one and of that mindset of, if it's not like that one, fuck this movie. But that's just not the case here. At the end of the day, all movies are experiential events, and it's going to hit people in different ways. And I am part of the 19% clearly that liked it, and I'm just here to kind of explain why. The things I liked about this movie, honestly, I liked Bill Skarsgård as Eric. I mean, yes, he doesn't have the long hair, but that's not going to make or break a movie. I am a huge sucker for revenge thrillers. I always talk about John Wick and how that movie doesn't really have a story outside of kill everyone involved in the death of his dog, but because they kill a dog in the beginning of the film, you're just on board for it. Everyone and their moms, nuns, were running to the theater to see John Wick exact revenge on these motherfuckers. That's essentially the same thing here. It's just they need to get you on board with liking Shelley so that when she eventually dies, you're on board with this journey with him, this supernatural thriller of him just killing everybody in his path to get to the one man responsible for the death of her. So this movie has a lot more backstory for both Shelley and Eric's relationship. Whereas in the first Crow, it really starts with the death of Shelley. You don't really know anything about her, and then you're just thrust into this neo-gothic punk rock underworld of revenge, and it was fun. Here, they wanted to really make you buy the fact that they were in love. So the whole first 45 minutes of this film is how they meet and how they fall in love and where they are leading up to the events of them both being killed. And I kind of bought it. I'm not gonna lie. The two tragic people just bound by destiny meeting at this place that I don't want to spoil because they create this whole backstory here that I didn't read the comics. Maybe that's what happened in the comics, but they never touched upon this in the original The Crow. And I really like that because I never really cared for Shelley in the original one, where here, I really did. In the original The Crow, there was not a lot of backstory in terms of why he has this newfound immortality. They touch on it a little bit, but here they broaden it a lot more and you get a better sense of what's actually going on and why he was given this gift. Bill Skarsgård plays this role really well, I thought. Just the rage within him to avenge his loved one was so spot on here that I had a blast watching him just tear through motherfuckers to get to this one guy that was responsible for everything. I thought the action was surprisingly good. Like it was a lot of fun. It's no John Wick. It's not anything that's like crazy inventive, but it was effective. There's no bullshit shaky cam. It was super violent. Like I was not expecting seeing people's limbs flying off and heads cut in half, and they hold on like the guts and everything that falls suit from that. And just like in John Wick, where he does eventually start killing all the people responsible for the death of his dog, you feel that satisfaction. I felt that here too. It just hit me the right way. That being said, this movie isn't perfect, obviously. There are some logic problems, like technically the two lead characters here at one point are on the run and have no money, yet there are frequent times that they find themselves in Eric's apartment that has tons of lighting and he has like a music studio, and I'm just like, how do they have the money to pay the rent and the electric bill and everything? Well, like, how does this make sense? Where are they getting money? The main bad guy is also just super forgettable. I mean, you've seen him in a ton of things. It was the main bad guy in Wonder Woman, the first one with Gal Gadot. Pretty much everybody's forgettable outside of Eric and Shelley. Nobody is given any enticing backstories. You do get little tidbits by the main bad guy, but not enough to really like give a shit about him as a bad guy. So yeah, everyone outside of the two main characters are super disposable, but that's the point. You want him, everyone in this film is essentially just cannon fodder for Eric to tear through to complete his goal. They also proposed something at the very end that made me think, did the director want us to think that this was all in somebody's head or was really happening? I was a little confused by that, and you don't really get closure on that one little aspect. But outside of that, I thought everything else about this movie was really fun, actually. Now, if you are a die-hard fan of the original The Crow, I don't know if you're going to like this movie because the other film felt very MTV gothic music video-y. You got Eric like playing these like love rock metal songs on the roof, like with these epic like guitar synths in between the people that he's killing. It's also a very gothic like city. They make it very like cathedral and like operatic. Here it feels very much so like a very real lived-in world. It's kind of stripped of that gothicness that you're used to from the original, and it's stripped of that like rock music that made the original so iconic. It doesn't feel as metal as the original, but it definitely leans way more into the hyper violent. It doesn't have the face paint the way that Brandon Lee had. It doesn't have the long hair. The only thing it really does have is the trench coat that Brandon Lee wears in the original one. And again, because I am not a die-hard fan, I am okay with it being devoid of all those things that made the original so iconic, and I was able to kind of watch this as just another John Wick-like movie just with supernatural elements. And on that aspect, I really enjoyed it. And if you like stuff like that, like very simple stories of just revenge, I think you might enjoy this film. It's not like anyone's hamming up the performances. Everyone tried their best here. The only other gripe I really have, I liked this story between Eric and Shelley, and I bought their love, but I didn't think the actress playing Shelley was very good. She had the benefit of working alongside Bill Skarsgård, who is just so phenomenal in everything that he's in that he kind of carries her through this. So yeah, guys, I don't know. I really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, it's not perfect, but I got the action that I wanted. I got the performance out of Bill Skarsgård that I wanted. I got a good revenge story that had a supernatural twist on it that I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, fuck it. I like this movie. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I definitely think it's worth your time if you're into this type of genre, the horror, thriller, action genre. And I am going to go rewatch the original and see if I'm crazy. Anyway, guys, let's talk about it in the comments down below. Have I given you a reason to go see this movie in the theaters this weekend? If I have, I would love to talk about it. If I haven't, I would love to talk about it. If you think I'm fucking crazy, I would also love to talk about it. Anyway, I hope you have a great weekend, guys. And as always, I'll catch you next time.